adding this in for Dawn. That's a little bonus clip. Because she did want to see, oh, I was seeing if I had lipstick on my teeth. But I don't. Do I? No. She wanted to see this in comparison to Martine Cosmetics 669. And I'm just like, girl, no. But I think it was a look similar to this one I did using these two columns, which is reminiscent of a look I can do with Martine Cosmetics 669. And that's what this note is here, back from July 10th, 2022. She asked about a comparison between this and 669. But as you can see, this is not at all 669. And I will show it to you again what 669 is. And it's not, Fetes de Provence is not 669. But looking at these two columns, you can pick out shades. We have this purple right here. We have that silverish right there. We have 3 different blacks in this palette. And this one down here is more of a smoke gray. And so I do see what she was saying. And maybe even this gray for this one here. But as a whole palette, no. But just as these two columns, as a 669 vibe, yes. And I'm sure I've done a look similar to this with the 669. And so this little tidbit is for you, Dawn, because you did ask for that. And I wanted to know that even though it was almost a year ago, I did not forget. But now that I've done it, I throw my note away. So now that you've seen that part, let's just get to the video. Hey YouTube, we just want to jump in. This is Vanilla Mint. This is kind of a part 2 because I did a video prior to this and I was going to do this clip as well, but then that video ended up being 30 minutes. And so we're going to do this look separate. I will put that video up in the cards or pinned comment or end screen or something so you can understand what is going on, why we're doing this thing. But this video, we're going to do a look with the Fetes de Provence palette. I have not been gravitating toward it, and seeing the looks I most recently done, you can probably figure out why. Because of this right here. This shade I love from over here, but I gravitate towards this. And I have other palettes that the whole palette is just this. You know what I mean? And so I haven't been reaching for it, and I've been trying to decide whether or not to keep it. This was gifted to me in PR from the brand. And so I'm feeling sentimental about it. It does have a lot of life left in it. But I'm just trying to, I'm revisiting it to see if I'm going to be drawn to use it more than I have been, because I have not used it in months and months and months and months and months. And not because other stuff just came after this and I've been trying newer items I purchased, but I haven't reached for it because it doesn't call out to me. Yeah. This face is in the video that I just talked about that I'm going to link somewhere or have it as an end screen. So for this video, NYX retractable eyeliner in gray on my lower waterline and also my lower and upper rims. I already did prime my eye with the Fenty eyeshadow primer. I do have brushes set out. Hopefully everything is okay. And I didn't forget anything. Oh, this brush is rough. This is Waver brush. One of them felt more rough than this, and I threw it away. They were $2.99 at Target, but all of them didn't feel rough. And so, let me just get to it. So I'm trying to still get a feel for those, and if it's more annoying to use, because the other one for lower lash line, it actually hurt my skin, and I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So we're going to take, this is a Fenty brush. This shade here, I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I know I'm going to butcher it. And this is not really picking up. It didn't look like it was, but it is. The look I did with these columns, I really loved that look, but then that's just one look out of an entire palette. The other looks were nice. And so what I'm saying is the look that was my vibe was these two columns. And if that's all I'm going to use, I have other palettes I can use, not only for my vibe for one look, but also just my vibe in general. You see what I'm saying? And so that's my dilemma with this palette. So we're going to just do some light blending up here a little bit. I'm kind of wondering if I want to do one eye on and one eye off. And this seems like this is getting hard pan. Wow. Like this, the POA says it's good till August this year. Today is May 5th. This shadow is getting hard pan. This one right here. This palette has sweet almond oil in it. And I've said before, I do think it's the oils in the palette that turns. And when I did an experiment with Nomad's palettes around the time that, you know, the P always says, they did turn. And I think Berlin Underground was the worst. Like, that actually gave me some issues, like sensation wise. And other palettes, the formula has started to change. I didn't have irritation, but I can tell that the formula was different. And so these do turn for me within the 12 months that it says it's good for after you open it. And I do really just think it's the oils that are turning, because oils do go bad, believe it or not. And so that is this shade. I'm wondering if I want to just flip the brush over. We're going to, yeah, we're just going to flip it over, and we're going to go into this shade next to it. And I'm wondering if this is like the look that I did before. This one picked up super easy. So we're going to tap this on so as to avoid as much fallout as possible. Yeah, this one is not hard pan. That first shade, it did not even want to pick up. And this is not a dense brush, but whether dense or not, that's not going to make it hard pan. And we're going to sweep lightly in between just to get this blend going right here. And we're going to just blend up top a little bit. So this is pretty. Yeah, this one is picking up super easy. Super, super easy. And this is a light palette. I think the dark look I did with this, I think I might have layered it over this black shade, which is more like a smoke gray. But that look, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is my vibe. But it took me a while to get my vibe with it, because this is not a dark palette. It's not. And even in these two columns, these are cool tone, this one and these two. And I don't mind cool tone shades. I prefer warm tone and neutral shades, because those are what pops on my complexion. But if it's a warm tone that's like a yellow or a tan, it will just blend in with my complexion. Why to me is this looking patchy, like right there? Okay, let's see. Yeah, this this looking patchy, like right in my crease area, which the crease is right here. I think this may be making up my mind for me because of how it's performing. I don't remember having issues with it being patchy before. And you may not notice it, but down here, like I can see dark purple line right here. I see a patch right here. And in the crease, I see a purple line. And like down here, there seems to be shadow missing. So this is looking patchy to me. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, because I'm not looking at where you're looking. I'm looking down here. And this eye in particular, this is just looking patchy. And I don't want to keep applying it, because then it's going to fall out, because it's trying to stick to itself versus sticking to the primer. Yeah, so we're going to blend in between. We're going to do that. We're going to put that brush away. I do have fallout on my face from trying to layer that shade, so hopefully it'll sweep away. If not, then it just won't. Actually, it looks to me like it swept away. Doesn't mean it really did. It just means if it didn't, I don't see it. We're going to take this shade here, Scott Barnes brush, and we're going to use this as our transition shade. And it's not really a shade on me. I mean, it shows up, but it shows up a little dusty / ashy, and that's because it's cool tone. And it did do a good job blending, because you see how you can see my skin tone here and over here, like you don't. So this just blended into that shade, that shimmer shade. Yeah, I think I'm done with this palette. And because it's performing different, because that shade hit hard pan, I do think it's just going to be gone. The one shade in Orient Express hit hard pan, but that palette still had a lot of life in it. So that one is in my Macari store. And that one, the formula to me had not changed. And that shadow that was hard pan, the first time I ever used it, I put the brush in it, it turned hard pan. So it's not even that it turned, it just was from the beginning. But knowing that this is now patchy and this one is hitting hard pan, I'm not wanting to sell it. And I know somebody would, but I'm not going to do that. So I think this one is just done, even though it has a few more months left in it. I don't want to give away something or sell something that I wouldn't use. Like if this was my color story and I'm just like, okay, I have other color stories, that's one thing. But to not use it because the shades are performing different and patchy and all of that, that's a different subject matter to me. So not my color story, one thing, performance is something else. And because of the performance, that's why I'm not going to sell it or give it away. So I'm hoping that makes sense. We're going to take this shade here with a thinner brush. And this is going to go along the line between the transition shade and the lid shades. And it's not showing up. That's this shade. And again, it's my... I want to say it's my complexion, but it may be the shadow. I don't know. And this one is a powdery one. And some of Nomad shadows are powdery, which is not an issue, because then you just tap it off on your brush before you apply it to your lid. I think it did a little something, but I think it's making me look a little dusty. Yeah, this is not a good combination for me. So we're going to go back to the brush we used for that initial transition shade, and we're just going to go in small circular motions. Yeah, I was going to say something, but I'm not. I want to be positive. So sometimes when I kind of be like, I'm trying to think of how to reword things, because this is not a channel of negativity. This is a channel of self-acceptance and self-love. And we work with what we got, and hopefully we learn new things along the way. Now we're going to take this shade down here, and this is going to go on the outer corner. This is a, you know, this one applied fine. Oh, so if I can just like depot this one, yeah, that one's nice. An Esom brush. Was that what I was about to say? This is an Esom brush. This one is applying really nicely, like really, really nicely. But these are not depotable. I mean, I could take it out. I might ruin it, which I don't want to do. But then I would need a palette to put it in. And I do have other blacks. And so we're going to lightly just feather this over. So it's not like I actually need a black, because I have other palettes with blacks in it. So we're just feathering. This is a nice shade. And we're going to just take it up here some, just to have something in this area, because to me, like, you see how, well, no, because this is up here too, but I was thinking more of that transition shade was still showing through in the corners. But this, like this, I really like it, but for all the work I'm putting in, like, I should like it, right? All is not lost. Like, you can fix things. You can fix things. I'm looking at this like, I don't know. We're going to take this shade here as a brow bone shade, and this is a Makeup Geek brush, and I think this is going to make me look ashy if it shows up. This just is not, it's not too bad. And maybe because we just did a thin line, but like this on my lid, I think that would make me look ashy. We're going to go back to the brush that had the transition shade on it. And we're just going to do small circular motions, because I'm not really liking how this is looking like right here. Yeah, so that this, if this wasn't hard pan and this wasn't patchy, these three would be a look right here. But I'm not liking how they're performing. And hard pan is not the end of the world, because you can scrape it off with a spoolie. You can put a piece of tape over it and, you know, kind of smash it in and then pull the tape off, and the hard pan will come off. And so you can use shades that have hard pan, or just leave it hard pan and use it. You just have to put more effort into it to get the shadow to pick up on a brush. And so just because something is hard pan doesn't mean it's not usable. You can still use it. You just have to work to get it. We're going to take this shade here, and this is that Zoeva brush. And, oh, this crumbled. It picked up so easily, it crumbled in the pan. Like, there's crumbles around. This is when I go to tear duct area. I do not remember this being this way. Maybe it's the brush because it is a stiff brush. But I'm not remembering this being this way. You know what I'm going to do just to see for sure? First of all, I'm going to blow this out since it's not going to go anywhere. So we're starting from scratch. We're going to take a Fenty brush. And we're going to swipe it in here. This is still kind of crumbling. Not as much as with that brush that we just used, that Zoeva brush. But it's still quite crumbly. I just want to see if it really was that brush. And in some aspects, yes. But not crumbling as much. So I am really thinking this palette is just done. For lower lash line, I'm going to take this. I don't really want to, can you tell? And we just want to take this brush. I want to use a dense brush. I'm going to take a Blend Bunny brush, and we're going to go into here. And we're going to put that on our lower lash line. So thank you for being here. If you have this palette, let me know what you think of it. And I know it's subjective according to what your preferred aesthetic is. And this look is my vibe, but that's only just these 6 shades, and I'm pretty sure I did a look with these 6 shades before. The exception would be using this one as tear duct area color, but I am pretty sure the look that I did that was my vibe were these 2 columns, and I do believe I layered. I think I put the black down, or this smoke gray, and then layered one of these 2 on top of it. I think that's what I did, and that look was bomb. But that was with, you know, layering. And again, it was still only just these 2 columns. So am I liking the look? Yes. Was I blown away with the performance? No. Actually, I was, disappointed. The one hit hard pan, and the other one was patchy. But it was covered up with that smoke color. And so if something's patchy, you can just cover it up. I mean, you can make stuff work. You just have to make it work if you want it to. And so I'm gonna figure out a liner. Do I even want to put mascara? Should I do a traditional liner? No. Where would be the fun in that? I don't want to do OK Boomer because that's like super silver. If I do Bougie, that's not going to show up. That's the dual chrome one. I can do a gray maybe and see if this will show up. This one is Midnight Snack. Let's do this and see if this shows up. We're going to take, this is a Zoeva brush. But is this different than the other one? This is a 316. This one is a 320. So these are different. So we're going to try it with this one and see what happens. Again, this is Midnight Snack. You know what? Well, you will when I tell you, right? I didn't intend on talking through this entire look. And so thank you for being here. This is showing up some. I'm really liking... No, it's not. I mean, it is, but then it fades away. Like, as I get to over here, it fades away. And maybe it's just the way the light is hitting off of it. Because this way I can see the gray. But then as I come over the curve or where my eyeball is and over here, it's like, where'd it go? I was watching a video from Teresa Zed. She used a Tom Ford quad. So it was like neutral, rosy tones. One was a little deeper, which looks nice on her. And I think she used like a green liner or like a lime green liner. And I'm like, yes, with the contrasting liner. And she was like, don't want to do this. This isn't going to go. And she's like, oh, we'll just go for it. And she did it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's turning into a troll. And so I commented that I have been doing it lately. And like, I've been really digging it. And that I really liked how it looked on her. the contrasting liner, because I don't really see people doing that. I see Goth Adjacent on Instagram do that, but not too. I don't think I've really seen anybody else do that unless they're doing a graphic liner look. Goth Adjacent, that's just her vibe. Like, she just does that in every look where she uses a non-traditional liner, and she always does like a sharp wing eyeshadow look. But other than her, on a consistent basis, I have not seen anybody do, you know, other than a brown or black liner, just for their regular look. But that is her regular look. And she does gothy looks. I mean, her handle is Goth Adjacent. That's what she does. And so I guess I can credit her for sparking my interest in doing that. And I am really liking it. Her liner colors do play into her eyeshadow look. Whereas I'll do, you know, look like this and then put on like Contemplative State or something like this that's very noticeable. Hers may not be that stark, but it still is very different and is very pretty because it's not a black or a brown. And so if you are watching this, thank you for inspiring me to do that. We're going to do a look. I want to, just because I want to use Sea Queen, just because I don't want to keep this, but I don't, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just not my kind of color, really. You know what I could do? I'm going to just use it since I said it. I was going to say Eleanor from Martine Cosmetics. And I remember when I did the swatches, Dark Forest seems to just be a deeper version of Sea Queen. But I do want to get rid of Sea Queen. But I do also believe it'll serve a purpose. And so that's why I hold on to it. I'm going to finish this and come back. I'm going through my glosses right now. I don't know if this is going to make a difference. This is the Maybelline Shadow Hunter that has the green, purple, all them different specs in it. Yeah, let's just see. Oh, I think that makes it more my vibe. I'm really liking this over a liquid lipstick, but it can make it also goopy. And I've done, you know, the reels, and I'm like, I got lipstick on my teeth, which really was this, because this is kind of thick over liquid lipstick. But this is now more my vibe. And so I am going to keep Sea Queen. And if it's not looking quite right, I'll just put this on top of it. This is a saver for liquid lipsticks when I'm not sure, such as Sea Queen. So this is the look. Thank you for being here. Let me know what you think. If you have Fetes de Provence, it is a pretty palette. I just prefer darker, smokier, murkier, grungy. If this was a 6-pan palette, and maybe like this one and this shade, just to add a little spice or something, that would be good. But for me to keep all of this just for these two, when I can do something similar as this with other stuff, you know what I mean? And this hit hard pan and this was patchy. This makes me look a little dusty. So does this one. So I gotta work it. But we worked it. So I do like the look, but I am confident that I've done this with other stuff. So that's going to be it for this palette. So we revisited it to be sure. And I am sure. And my eyes are burning. Both of my eyes are burning. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's just going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts. And even though we didn't do the intro, as always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.